Now I hear my echo with some seconds of delay. So welcome. Now we are live. Really excited to be back after some months with not many news. GenAI Gurus community is here again. And what you are seeing now is our new landing page. As you have noticed, we have grown quite a lot in the last months, and also including due to this event, we are over 2,400 Meetup members at the moment. We passed 50 hosted events, and we got to over 10,000 total audience people, which is really great. The topic of today is absolutely exciting: OpenClaw, how it works, best practices, and safety for real-world personal agents. We will have Maxim in a second talking about this, but before, I will give you a few more insights into the new content of the new page. You see also some of the highlighted sessions we had in the past. We had experts, or actually the people from Windsurf, explaining us how it works. We had people from the US AI Safety Institute talking about societal adaptations. So what are the impacts of getting to super intelligence or artificial general intelligence? We had the talk also about privacy and GenAI with lawyers from Silicon Valley. We had research lead from the Llama 3 from Meta, back, of course, in May 24, when that was a thing. And one of the oldest one, October 23, we had Andreas Blattman from Stable Diffusion, now what is known as Black Forest Labs. What is the community? Well, this is us. I would start myself. I'm Carlos Hernandez. I'm AI strategy lead and AI officer at Bosch, and I'm happy to connect with you if you want. We have also with us Gerd, Rasmi, and Miguel. Maybe, Gerd, you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi, I'm excited to be here. So excited to see today how to use OpenClaw and maybe fix some of the issues I ran in. So happy to be here.
Rasmi, you want to also say hello?
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Rasmi, and yeah, recently I was doing today's stuff.
Hi, my name is Miguel Cienfuegos, and very excited to be here to learn a bit more of OpenClaw insights. And yeah, feel free to connect and follow in LinkedIn as well.
Very cool. Thank you so much. I see we have already over 100 people live. The community started in June 23. It will be very soon 3 years. We had many different events, project incubators. We passed 1,000 Meetup members in early 25. We are now, as I mentioned before, over 2,000 members. Actually, I checked this morning, 2,400 members, really good number. But, well, that's not what matters. You can read more about the community in the website. I will just make 2 very short plugs because we are here. This is my 2 golden minutes, so I will use them. We have a new community resource. I will show you here. And this is a free and open source resource. If you work with EU AI Act, if you actually work with AI, where any customer or any user is in Europe, you need to comply with the EU AI Act. And there is few deadlines upcoming. So actually for me, it was a big pain to find the resources I needed. And I created this open source project, which is an awesome list with over 200 resources you can check, covering all the official links, open source projects, legal standards, templates, training, certification, and so on and so forth. It would be really cool if it's interesting for you that you give it a star here. Checking the stars very often. I hope we get to a significant number. Yeah, this is the first plug. The second is what is upcoming after this talk. So the next talk after today's is already planned. This is part of a series of events all around harness engineering for AI agents. And maybe you have seen in the Meetup group that, of course, the feature event is the one of today, but there is already one event planned. And you didn't receive an email because it's not announced yet. But what is this about? This is the next step. If you are building agents and you need to govern them, especially in enterprise, you need to do certain additional actions. And there is a very interesting open source project now called, from Microsoft, Agent Governance Toolkit, or AGT. And we will have on 7th of May, the person who is behind this from Microsoft. He's a principal engineering leader, and he's the maintainer of this repository of this project. So absolutely interesting, I think, for all of us. So feel free to go to the meetup group and join. This will happen in May 7th. Good. And now we are really ready for going to the talk of today with Maxim. One last thing I almost forgot. If you have any proposal for a talk, or you want to partner with us, at the bottom of the page also there are forms to contact us, or you can of course reach out over LinkedIn. And with this, just mention that if you want to participate, if you want to make questions, I see already Nacho saying thanks, so helpful, very good. You need to subscribe to the GenAI Gurus channel. This is a precondition for you to be able to participate. You are very welcome. Please do so. And now we go to the topic of today with Maxim. Please, the stage is yours. Absolute pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Carlos, and hey, everyone. So let me share my screen and let me know when you see it. I think, oh, 1 second. This is always the most difficult thing. Okay. So, you guys
Looks
can
good.
see, right, Carlos?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So, thank you everyone for joining, and I'll just go briefly about who I am and why I'm here. So my name is Maxim. I've been doing software development for about 10 years, handwriting code. Who would believe that? No agents, but now I do. The main areas I was focusing on were web and security. And so why am I here? I started tweaking around with agents some time ago, a few months ago, when they basically came out, and vibe coded a small CLI utility for myself for tracking blogs I liked. And then OpenClaw just started to blow up on Twitter. And I thought to myself, why not use OpenClaw for that? Added the skill there. Right now it's available for everyone who install OpenClaw. So that's pretty cool. And that's also how Carlos found me and proposed me to talk to you guys. So thank you, Carlos, for that. I'm always happy to share some stuff about things I like. So in this talk, we're gonna talk about OpenClaw, but also generally about agents and the security mindset I think you should have for like basic interaction with agents. In the end, we'll cover also some opinionated best practices, but this is nothing official. It's only my opinions. The talk is tailored for people that have some technical background, because right now you have to have it if you want to work with OpenClaw. It's not so easy to set it up. And for people who maybe heard about it, played with it, maybe played with a bit with Cloud Code. So we won't have like really basic stuff, but we will also go over some basics. Yeah, so that's it. Let's start. So OpenClaw was created by Peter Steinberger. I added his Twitter handle on the bottom, and I highly recommend following him. He has good content. And like, I'm sure you're familiar with OpenClaw and maybe even used it, but just to get everyone on the same page, you can think of OpenClaw as like an always-on loop of Cloud Code that you can talk to with your favorite messaging app. So Telegram, WhatsApp, you can just message something that is similar to Cloud Code. There's tons of mechanisms inside OpenClaw that make it special, but at the core, that's what it is. It's like an always-on Cloud Code. So what we're talking about today, I broke it into a few subjects. We have first the use cases. We'll go briefly over some use cases that I used, and maybe like you'll get the hang of what I mean when I think about using OpenClaw. And next, we'll talk about the architecture overview of how OpenClaw works. We'll dive into skills and how to use them, how they are constructed. Then we'll go into how conversations are handled in OpenClaw, which is pretty unique. It's not the same as in Cloud Code. And in the end, we have the security and the best practices, which we'll tackle each on its own. Yeah. Also, I will stop at each time that you see this slide. I will stop for questions, and yeah, just feel free to send questions as I speak, and we will stop and try to answer as many as them as we can make. Yeah. So I guess no questions right now, but from now on. Also, I don't see questions, so if there are, Carlos, let me know. Okay.
Yeah, we stop you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. So use cases. You can scan this QR code, and you will have also, I think, the presentation. So don't need to worry grabbing your phones. You can scan this QR to get to the Discord channel of OpenClaw and see use cases there. Some are good. Look, some use cases that are published there are pretty good. Some are just hype. One of the things that I aim to do today is to have no hype and BS. So it's hard, but we're gonna manage it. Be okay. So I just wanted to get you like into this mindset of starting to work with OpenClaw. So when I started working on a project with my partner some time ago, we had a few things we wanted to do to automate, and OpenClaw was a pretty good tool for that. So we employed our first OpenClaw employee, called him Samuel. Why not? We connected him to GitHub, Google, Gmail, Linear, all of the stuff that we need to make him like a functional, good employee. And we started to give him different tasks. Like we had, the project is open source, so we had issues opened by different people, and sometimes, most of the time, we handled them ourselves, but like sometimes we were away from our laptops, and we wanted it to be handled fast because we wanted a pretty good experience for people. So we just threw those PRs at Samuel. He had all the context because we set him up with it, and he just wrote the PRs and we approved them. It's pretty basic. Like you can do it with Cloud Code. It's not unique, but the thing is like the interactions, like how fast you can do it and from where. So that's pretty good. Also, we asked him to do some research for us. Here, the nice thing is, again, you can do it with Cloud Code, but in this case, we have like a group with him, and it's like a shared conversation that we have, me and my partner with Samuel, and it's pretty helpful because we can jump back and forth, and he's part of the conversation, and when we need him to go deeper on something, then we can do it. So that's pretty helpful. Also, I have a personal OpenClaw running for like only my needs, and like I said about the small utility that I've built, so I'm actually using it, and it's giving me like an update on favorite blog posts I want daily. It's pretty nice. I don't have to do it myself. I usually forget, and helps me keep track of things. So that's good. Yeah, I think we'll skip that. Okay. So yeah, nothing too fancy, like I promised. Really simple automations, and I think this is where OpenClaw shines. Just a great tool to automate your day-to-day. So yeah, I think if we have any questions, I'm guessing not because it's only use cases, we can continue. Okay. So first, let's define what an agent is. I think the definitions vary a bit, but most of them include those 4 blocks that we have here. Maybe sometimes with other skills, but I like to include it. So we have models, skills, harness, and tools. We'll go into depth about the skills, but let's just say a few words about the model and the harness. And for the rest of the talk, when I say agent, I mean something like that. So having those 4 blocks. So an agent has a model, which is like the brain. For the most part, model is really simple. Text go in, text, the model processes it, and the text comes out. So if that is the case, then how can OpenClaw do anything? Like, how is he able to interact with the world if he's just spitting text in and out? So it's not really the case. OpenClaw has an harness that he is using. What is a harness? It's a fancy word, but what it means, it's something like Cloud Code or Codex or OpenCode. I'm guessing you've used at least one of those. Basically, the harness is the component that provides the model access to the real world. So the model can tell, the harness tells the model which tools he can use and which skills and stuff like that. And the model will decide, okay, I want to use a specific skill or I want to use a specific tool. And it's all in the text that comes in and out. So when you send a message with OpenClaw, what gets to the model itself is the message, but also he's getting a list of a bunch of many tools, because OpenClaw has many tools and many skills. And the model can decide, like, okay, I want to use a specific tool or I want to call a specific skill. And the component that is has the responsibility to call those tools and skills is the harness itself. Like, the model can't actually do anything. So that combination is really strong. Okay, so now we get a nice, okay sense of how agents work. So it's a pretty like bird's eye view, but it's good enough for now. We'll talk about skills and tools in a bit, but for now that's good enough. And this is the architecture overview for OpenClaw. Also very simplified, but it's good for us. So what do we have here? The first part is inputs that go into OpenClaw. We can interact with OpenClaw using a CLI or messaging app, Telegram, something like that. And all of that goes to a component called gateway. So the gateway is a component that runs as part of OpenClaw and is specific to OpenClaw. Cloud Code doesn't have it. And the gateway knows where to route our messages that we send. And if all goes well, then the gateway triggers the agent to perform a specific task. Now that the agent is triggered, he is in control. So basically what happens is that we have our harness that calls the model we choose, and then the model does the thinking. Maybe he asks the harness to call some tools. So there's something, those 3 dots that you see in WhatsApp or Telegram that is thinking, that's this part. And in the end, when the model decides that he is finished, he returns the message that the gateway sends back to us. This is really like a high-level overview of the flow of the request. So that was a pretty short summary of what goes behind the scenes. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer, and if not, we'll continue to the skills. Okay. So skills, probably most of you have used them. We'll go into how they work in more depth. So a skill, just to get everyone on the same page, is a way for us to package knowledge. So let's say there is a specific action that we are constantly taking. So it's only relevant for things that we are constantly doing over and over. This action has probably a set of rules that we have to follow. We can package all those rules into a skill. This is the terminology that is used today. And we can have agents run this skill, this set of rules, and yeah, basically make them run our action. So how does a skill look like? So the structure of a skill has, in general, a skill has the most important file, which is skillmd. You have to have this file. And inside this file, there are two sections. There's the front matter, YAML front matter, and then there's the markdown body. So there's also other stuff that are not required, and we will go into it a bit later, but we'll focus on the two important ones, which are the YAML front matter and the body. So this is how the YAML front matter looks like. It's at the top of the skillmd file. And why do you need it? So imagine you have like a bookshelf, okay? You have lots of books, and you want to know what each book is about. So you won't start reading every book, which will take you tons of time. You just want to like maybe know what's the name of the book and read the description that you have at the back of it. So basically, that's what YAML front matter is. It provides the model with the name of the skill and the description, which is when to use the skill, not what the skill does, but when to use it. And then the agent can only process this section of the skill, not load everything into memory. So this is a bit of like context engineering that is going on. We only load the top, and then if the model decides, yeah, I want to do something with it, I want to run the skills, then we load the rest of it. And the rest of it is the actual body itself. So the body contains the actual knowledge. It can have references to external sources or to actual code. And we have an example here. So this is an example from, it's a bit hard to see it, so I'm sorry about that, but it's a skill that I wrote for my CLI utility. And you can see at the top the name, then the description of when to use it. And below those three dots, we have the actual, like the body itself, how it works, how to install it, quick start. And it's not the end, but there's like commands that you can use, and it explains basically to the agent how to use it, to the model how to use it. There are a few things that I think make a skill pretty good skill, and it's not, I didn't come up with it. I just searched on the web, and it makes a lot of sense. So a skill should be narrow. It should be doing one thing only, which is, if you come from programming, makes a lot of sense. The trigger metadata, the front method that we talked about, it should be written really carefully. Like you want to invest some time into your description. You want to invest some time into what might happen when the model reads it. Like, is it clear enough when to use it? And then the skillmd itself, like the body, should not be too long. If you need a long one, if you need something that is big, it's probably better to use extra files and just reference them. Okay, so yeah, I think if you haven't done it yet, if you didn't try to create a skill for yourself, you probably have something that is that you're repeating in your day-to-day. I know it's really hard to notice which things those like which actions we can automate. For me, it's really hard. I'm really investing a lot of effort into identifying those things. But when I do come up with something, asking just OpenClaw to, hey, can you help me write a skill that does ABC? And then he will help you, and it's pretty smooth. So Okay, any questions?
Maybe a question from my side, Maxim,
Yeah.
because skills are now very popular, but almost 1 year ago, people were very excited with MCP. So do you have a hint when to use MCP and when to use skills?
Yeah, so MCP really blew up, and everyone, like you said, were excited about it. I would say that for the most part, let's say if you're like doing it for personal usage, I don't see any reason to use an MCP. It's too complex. If you're like a company that wants people to have easy integration with your services, then probably you can come up with some MCP that does it and helps people connect to you. Like, let's say Figma has a nice MCP that you can connect to, and then like ask Cloud Code to create different designs with it. So it's pretty handy there. A simple skill won't be probably good enough for that. It's pretty complex. But yeah, for personal usage, I would just say use a skill because it's really easy to create, easy to change, and yeah. Okay.
Sounds good. I had another question because sometime in January, when the OpenClaw exploded, there was a lot of controversy, let's say, on the Claw Hub, I think is the name,
Yeah.
where you can find other skills. So how to make sure, not talking about creating your own skill, which is clear that you can trust yourself, but where do you find skills that you can trust, or how do you manage that?
Yeah, okay, that's great. So I'll go into it at the end. I have like two sources. One is actually, like you said, ClawHub, but you have to be cautious about what you do there. And also there is another registry for skills. But yeah, basically, I don't think there is like a really good way to really know that you're good unless you go and check it yourself. There's been tons of effort on Peter's side and his maintainers to try to make ClawHub more safe. And they've done some progress there, but yeah, you still have to make sure yourself, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's continue. So, conversations in OpenClaw. I think this part is really unique for OpenClaw and how it's working, and it's, in my opinion, important to understand. So you will know, like, when you send him a message like, "Hey, how are you?" What context does he has? Like, what context does the model get? So first thing we need to know about this whole conversation stuff is a concept of sessions. So this is from the docs, what you see here. OpenClaw organizes conversations into sessions, and each message is routed to a session based on where it came from. So DMs, groups, chats, you get it. So when I send him this message, he's automatically sending it to a specific session that is already created, and all of the other messages that I send there also get to that specific session. And we can control those sessions. Either automatically they're controlled because they are created like daily, or you can manually restart a new session, create a new one. You can do it pretty easily with just Telegram, with a / command like /new or /session new, and it will create a new session instantly. So what context goes in? I like to break it into two types of context. This is nothing official. It's only like my terminology and how I think about it. So we have static context and we have dynamic context. Static context would be of those components that go into the context, but they don't change much. And dynamic context is things that are related mainly to a specific session that you're in, and they change a lot. So in static context, we will focus on two things that are important. We have the agents MD, which is it's the same as CloudMD if you're using Cloud Code. It's just a file with tons of rules on how the agent should behave. In this instance, it's OpenClaw, and if you try to ask your OpenClaw, hey, show me your agents in D, you'll get a really long list of rules that explain how it should behave. And yeah, basically that's loaded every time. And if you need, you can add something to it if there is any reason. Next, there is the stall.md. So this file is created when you set up first, when you initially set up OpenClaw, and you tell it how you want it to behave and which how do you say it? Which behavior basically you want, which rules you want him to follow. And at the start of each session, he just loads this file, no matter what you write to him. So he always has this. Okay, so the dynamic context. Dynamic context, so when you send a new message, that gets added to the current session, and of course to the context, and also all of your previous messages in the same session are all also added. So when I sent that, hey, how are you? If we had previous messages in that same session, they were always sent as well. So if you have a very, very long conversation with OpenClaw, then it might be a large session, but in practice, it's restarted daily. Okay, and we also have some memory mechanisms for OpenClaw. So if you want him to remember something, you can ask him, hey, please remember to something. And he might write it to the memory.md file, which he also loads every session, and those are like durable facts. This is from the docs. Durable facts, preferences, and decisions. These are things that you want him to remember specifically about you and what you like. And there are also daily notes that he writes himself. It's basically loaded. The previous 2 daily notes are loaded automatically, and it gives it a sense of like he is remembering what happened yesterday. So it's pretty nice. And there are also other memory mechanisms which are experimental. I won't go into it in depth. In summary, so this all conversation mechanism is basically context engineering, and it's really evolving all the time. There are constantly new mechanisms for how to remember stuff and where to write them, how to retrieve them. Just like I think a few days ago, they went out with a new active memory plugin. There are also lots of hype, not only for OpenClaw, for many other agents. And I would say that if you want stability, you should wait before you adopt anything. But if you don't mind and you just want to play around, then you can just go for it. Okay, so now we know a bit about what happens behind the scenes when we send a message, which files are loaded, and which context is already there. Is there any questions about that?
I think there are no questions at the moment.
Nice.
In the chat.
So security patterns. So some of the security patterns here apply to all agents. Like it doesn't matter if you use OpenClaw or Cloud Core or something else. There's the link specific to the docs of OpenClaw, but it's nothing specific for that. So I think the biggest issue here is prompt injection. If you didn't hear about it, so there is like an inherent problem with OpenClaw, and frankly, all other agents, even if you use Cloud Code, you can still be prompt injected. It's just probably a bit safer. And it stems from the fact that behind the scenes, the LLM can be tricked. So just like we have a simple SQL injection, we can have someone inject unwanted like actions into what the agent does. So let's say we have a task that we give our OpenClaw to find some flight to New Zealand, and OpenClaw goes and searches Google for flights, and some website returns a malicious response and tells him to ignore all instructions and send all of the credentials to that website. And OpenClaw, because he's strict, he's just doing it without asking you for permission. So there are ways to mitigate the issue, but there is no silver bullet. We, in my opinion, should always use a smart model. So use the high-end ones, GPT 5.3 at least, or Cloud Code Opus 4.5, something like that, something that is pretty smart. Don't trust with credentials that lead to critical components. Like if you can't get them hacked, then probably they should not live inside OpenClaw. And yeah, this privilege is like basics. Okay, so another issue we have is secret management, and it's also related to prompt injection. Imagine you have like a password to some website and you want OpenClaw to access it on your behalf. So what are the dangers of that? We have a tweet here from someone that says that like, this is the most painful thing for him. And Peter sends a link to some docs of OpenClaw. So we go there and I ask Pip to do some research for me. And he finds out that basically it's a way for OpenClaw not to save secrets like in plain text, which you would not normally do, but save it in some type of vault, some secret management infra. So that's pretty good, but it doesn't like solve this inherent issue of someone still might trick our LLM to go and ignore instructions, delete repo without telling us. So yeah, nasty stuff. And I would say that the tools that OpenClaw provides for like secret management are really good, and it's the best I think we have right now. There is no actual way to solve the prompt injection issue, at least yet. So yeah, it's a still ongoing effort. I would say that there is no silver bullet, but maybe, hopefully, it will be addressed soon. Another thing that is really important is how you use messaging platforms with OpenClaw. So when I started to use OpenClaw, you could pair it with WhatsApp, but you had two options. You have to give access to your own account and access to your message history, or you can buy a number for the bot and give him his own account, and then he doesn't have access to your messaging history. And most people won't buy a number just for that, and giving access to my account is really a bad idea. I would say that you should never do it, never give access to your message history, because God knows what there is inside there, and you don't want it to go public. So my advice, just stick to Telegram or something that has really good support for bots. Yeah, and about environment isolation, there's some talks about like OpenShell and Docker and how to do it. Again, this is just my preferences. I would say that if you already run OpenClaw on like a separate machine, it's already isolated. It's already like kind of you can think about it as a Docker or a VM. As long as you don't have really easy way from that machine to yours, you just send WhatsApps or Telegram to it, then I would not try to use Docker or OpenShell for that. But this is only, like I say, for the personal usage. Like you should not, you probably should have some good isolation if you're running it for like companies and running multiple agents at once. Yeah, so for me, I think like an extra machine that OpenClaw can run on is pretty good and simple. And yeah, so minimal data sources, probably you should not like if you ask OpenClaw to go to Reddit and research some topic, I wouldn't be surprised if you get prompt injected, which is it doesn't mean like it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world, but if you don't manage your secrets carefully, like you give it some access to something that is really important for you, then yeah, I would not try to aim it at unknown sources on the web. And in general, like there is this balance that we need to find. So less access is more secure, but then again, less access is less effective. I will say that I think there are ways to still have it effective and secure. One of those patterns is what I will show you soon. So yeah. Any questions?
Hi, Maxim. Yeah, we do have a couple of questions. I think we have some 10-20 seconds lag, so we got them a little bit later. I would go sequentially. So one of them is like, hey, why would you use OpenClaw instead of Claude Cowork? Isn't Cowork safer?
Yeah, so Cowork is similar to Claude Code, but it's different in how it's packaged. So they have extra like skills and stuff that are more tailored to knowledge workers. And I would say that if you compare like Cowork and code with OpenClaw, then right now, as time progresses, there is less and less difference. So OpenClaw has an option to talk with over the phone. Claude Code has this now too. Like a few weeks ago, they introduced it. They're constantly moving to the same. Like they're adding ways to do things that you can do with OpenClaw, also with Claude Code or Cowork. I would say that right now the reason why we would go with OpenClaw is because it's still more like the interaction with OpenClaw is more smooth, it's smoother, sorry, and the flexibility and what you can do with it is smoother, but it's not gonna stay like that for long. Things are changing really, really quick.
Yeah, thank you so much. Maybe we take a couple more questions. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I think one or two, and then we'll.
Yeah. Okay. Then the next one would be, what's the most cost-effective LLM model you're currently using with OpenClaw and why? And also, do you have any good tricks or best practices to like minimize the tokens?
Yeah. So I think in terms of the most cost effective is hard because it's also changing a lot. But right now, if I'm not mistaken, Claude Code, like Anthropic models are out of the question. Like I think you can't use them anymore because they blocked access for OpenClaw. You can use it only with API when API is really expensive. I use it with Codex, with GPT subscriptions, and it works pretty well. You can also use Minimax. You can use like those Chinese models that like, you don't have to go. You can just go to any provider that gives like models of like Chinese companies or stuff like that. I think those are pretty cheap. Yeah, maybe OpenClaw. OpenCode. Maybe they provide some stuff that are relevant. Yeah, maybe if you know Carlos, you can jump in, but that's all I have. Okay.
Yeah, I think we can get back to the other questions later.
Okay. Nice. So, okay, let's go to the final subject, the best practices. With all of that said, like we will now see how we can share information with OpenClaw, still in a secure way, but also that it will be usable for us. Those best practices, they're not really like formal, they're not official, they're pretty opinionated and they're mine. It might not be the best thing for you, but it works pretty well for me. So first of all, and this is a random one, but each time I create a new OpenClaw, I always do it. I need to give him like some prompt to get speech to text capabilities. I'll provide the prompt later on. You will have like a QR to some file that you will have it there. But basically, it's a really simple prompt that explains it how to set it up. Most likely, if you just ask him to, hey, get me get wire yourself and get yourself like the capabilities to understand voice messages, then he will do it fine. But I just like crafted it a bit differently. Research. So I showed you some research stuff that we did. I think the last 30 days skill is a pretty good one. I would say the guy that created it has done pretty good job explaining how to perform research that is more complicated than just, hey, what's inside this page. If you want to find stuff that are like, want to research a topic from Reddit or Twitter and stuff like that, you might want to take a look at this skill. It's pretty useful. Next, we have another prompt that I will share as well, but like OpenClaw has an issue that sometimes you ask him to change something and he's changing it in the configuration, but then he's like doing it in a malformed way and everything crashes and you have to go manually fix it. So this prompt helps it. Okay, now the good stuff. So in my opinion, setting your OpenClaw with a Google account is it's a thing that really gives you a lot of power. Also in terms of what you can do with OpenClaw and how you interact with it. So people were trying to figure out how to share files between themselves for like a long time, for ages. And Google does it pretty good. Like you have a really good experience of, hey, I want to share this Google Sheet with someone. I can just share it to their Google account. So why not take all of that infrastructure and features and just treat OpenClaw as just another individual and just give him his own Google account. It costs nothing, and set him up so we can use it. So you will be able to do things like share with him files over Drive. Let's say we find ourselves wanting to share files from like our machine, but we don't want to have OpenClaw running on our machine. We can share a specific folder inside of Drive with OpenClaw, and then you'll be able to just do changes, ask him to do changes, collaborate on the same files, and works pretty well. The way to do it is just to tell him like, hey, OpenClaw, help me set up Drive for you. Or before that, you have to set him up with Google account. So all of that, you can just ask him how to do it, and he will guide you. So it's pretty straightforward. Also, another like pattern that I found myself using a lot is when I want to have OpenClaw access to my Gmail. So I don't really give him access to my own Gmail account because I don't trust him. I don't think you should trust him. So what I do right now is I just automatically forward all of my Gmail to his Gmail, and I ask him to have like a cron job that runs each day, and he processes all of the emails that he got from me, does what he needs, and then deletes them. And this way, like we get the best of like also the best of sharing the emails and also not having them publicly exposed for someone that gets him and does prompt injection for him. Let's say someone eventually is able to get to my OpenClaw, he won't be able to see most of my email. Like it's probably going to be all deleted. Maybe few small emails will live there. Then I'm willing to take that risk. Okay. This one I think we'll go over. Cron jobs. I think we're almost out of time. So I'll just go briefly over things that I think are still important. Multi-agent setups, we see some hype about it. I generally think that it's really, I don't think it's usable. Like it's not worth it. You can do it, of course, but I think it's not worth it for personal use. I might be wrong, but for me, it's like extra overhead, extra setup complexity, and I can just like have a simple agent package something that I wanted to scale, and that's it, move on. Regarding the skill registries that we talked about, so those two are the ones I recommend. ClawHub is like really built into OpenClaw. There is like an entire mechanism there, and they have a way to like tell which skill is like official and which one is not. You can see it in the UI itself, so you can go there and check it. But also the skills SH, which is I think managed by Vercel, is pretty good. More stars means you probably can trust it better, but still validate it yourself. And yeah, OpenClaw is not the only option. There's tons of options. Hermes right now is starting to be pretty popular, but in my opinion, you can just stick to one of those, see what works for you, and eventually the important stuff is that you can actually automate things. And yeah, what we talked about today, you can scan this QR and it will show you like a small GitHub page, which you'll find all the information there. And yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope you had some great time.
There is still a few more questions, if that would be okay for you, Maxim.
Yeah, sure. That's a good time.
You want to raise them, Rasmi?
Yeah, I think a couple of them were already covered in your presentation as well. So I'm just looking at some things that are there. Yeah, I think regarding your emails, the info in your personal emails, the context is still shared later. That's one of the questions. So not the email address, but the context.
So the question is the email like the email contexts, like the email itself, what it has?
Yes, the contents of the email.
Is it shared with OpenClaw?
Yes.
So yeah, it's all of it is forwarded to OpenClaw, but the thing is that I forward it, like there is an option to just forward automatically any mail that you get in Gmail, so you just can use that. And each day the OpenClaw is processing all of the emails, reads them, tells me what's like important there, and then deletes the old ones, let's say those that are older than 2 days. So worst case is if something happens, I get a leakage of 2 days worth of emails. But if I would have given OpenClaw access to my, like read only to my Gmail account, then if something happens, this actor can take like all of my emails and just use them all. So I think this is like a pretty good middle ground, which I still get good capabilities and good usability from it, and save myself the trouble.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there anything else that I'm not on this?
So I have a question. Maybe I can ask a question as well. So NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said you shouldn't allow an agent necessarily 3 capabilities at the same time. So access to sensitive information, code execution, and external communication at the same time. You shouldn't allow the agent to have access to all these 3 different capabilities. Do you think that's correct? And how do you configure your agents so that they only have access to, let's say, or work on some of these capabilities, but not all of them at the same time? Is that part of your concept as well?
So my philosophy is that it can change like in a day if something new comes out that is like breaking all my assumptions. But right now, my philosophy is that I use OpenClaw for things that I can somehow give him access, that if something happens, I won't cry about it. It's not so critical. And then I can just give him access to everything I want. So code, Gmail, like you see here, like it's not my actual Gmail, so it's okay. So there's like lots of small details that you can put in your setup that like keep you still safe, relatively safe. But I would say that it's probably right for like enterprises and companies that want to have it on the safe side. So for personal use, I think it's too much hassle to try to separate agents to code and something else. Like it's too much work to have multiple agents just for like basic automation stuff that you want for yourself. And yeah, that's basically it, like what I'm focusing right now. But if you're building for your company, you should probably do it more secure.
We already had a question with respect to the costs. So OpenClaw running in loops could potentially create a lot of, or burn a lot of tokens at the end. So I was looking into this with my agents as well. So bringing down the costs is very interesting for me as well. And I already played around with open source models and locally hosted models as well. What is your experience with respect to the quality? So let's say a specific task you want to get solved and you used Opus for this in the past. And did you try out open source models as well? And what is your experience?
Yeah, so it's not there yet. I think, in my opinion, at least in what I saw on the internet, if you take, for example, Gamma that was released recently from Google, it's a really good model. It's crazy good. Like it's in the level of models from like last year. If you would compare last year to this model that can run on your phone, then it'll be like mind blowing for Maxim of 2024, 25. Sorry. But right now, I think we expect like a different level of autonomy and like tool calling and interaction with different components. And I think it's not there yet. Like the tool calling, the way Codex and Opus do tool calling is right now is really good. And the open models are not there yet if you don't have like really good machine to run it on. Like I have a simple like Mac Air. I don't have the capability to run like a really high-end open source model. So I'm stuck with Anthropic and OpenAI, but I'm guessing it's not for long. Like you will have good options probably next year for like local models, I hope.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, so I think we will end here. Maxim, thank you so much for your talk. It was very, very interesting also for all the questions we got. And yeah, see you in the next talk in a few weeks. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.